and when they graduate to pursue their dreams, only to return with thousands of dollars of debt that they could possibly live with their whole life. Most people don't realize when starting college what they're actually paying for, and that these added costs can cause them to not be able to afford it altogether. 1 in 4 adults in the US under the age of 40 have student debt, and out of these Americans, the Education Data Initiative reported in 2024 that the outstanding private student loan debt was almost $129 billion. This number may feel discouraging to young adults who are looking to develop their education. College education should be affordable for everyone who wants to get a degree. So in order to break down the costs of the college education system, first we will examine what students are actually paying for, investigate the benefits of lowering the costs, and analyze the mental health impacts that the cost can have on people. First, we will examine what students are actually paying for. Many college students, typically aged 18 to 23, are not prepared to add around $12,000 to their loan debt each year. In 2023, the Salt Lake Tribune reported that approximately 38% of students drop out because of finances. With the decrease in the cost of college education, less students would have to choose between financial security and education. A major contributor to the cost of college debt is the cost of housing, books, supplies, and other additional expenses. All of those areas can cost around $19,000 annually. At a 4-year college, room and board on average can contribute up to 43% of an undergraduate's yearly expenses, according to the Education Data Initiative on December 5th of 2024. This is a big deciding factor for students if they want to live on or off of campus. They also have to choose if they need to get a job, which means that they would have something else distracting them from their schoolwork, and maybe won't be performing as well. Students often have to choose which ways they are going to be saving money, and this leads to about 1 in 3 students not eating enough and having food insecurity as well as housing insecurity. Each year, the cost of textbooks alone grows about 6% and doubles every 11 years. At the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, they're charging their students almost $8.50 per credit hour, or almost $250 annually for library access. And in their libraries, they aren't even supplying them with the textbooks needed for the courses that they provide. To cut down the costs of textbooks, they could start carrying the books needed. Another area that colleges could decrease the cost in could be in their parking. Some colleges are charging almost $800 per year for parking. While maintenance does need to be done to the lots throughout the year, some places are only allowing their students to park in certain lots all year round. If they are charging that amount, all students should be allowed to park wherever they need to, or the cost should be cut. One way this can be done is by making parking first come, first served, or parking passes free. If we could reduce this cost, it could benefit a much larger population over their entire lives. The benefits of lowering the cost of college tuition outweigh the cons of keeping it the same. In an article by the University of the People in 2024, they found that because when you have a college degree, you have a greater chance to receive higher pay. It would also be easier to work up the career ladder and maybe would even make you enjoy your job even more. This increased amount of college degrees is also linked to higher political involvement. This means that there could be more people involved in society, and it could be moving forward at a faster speed. In 2022, the Commonwealth Times discussed how in a majority of students, primarily low-income students of color, that the cost of college was simply unreasonable and unfathomable. Young students hoping to enter the professional world would have to agree to be burdened by colossal debt in order to get the education that they need. The Education Data Initiative also stated that when students have this kind of debt, it can take as long as 20 years to pay it off and can put a great burden on adult finances. As a society, if we were to find ways to lower the cost, it could benefit a much larger population, even the ones who are low income. Some people wonder if lowering the cost of college would affect our economy badly, but actually it would drive economic growth because students would be able to save and then spend. And with more economic demand, there would be more job opportunities that require a college degree that you, in turn, were able to obtain because it was cheaper. And with more job opportunities, there would be a significant impact on the economy as a whole. In a Vox article with the Center for Economic and Policy Research, they said there are more students are attending school, there are lower crime rates. This was especially seen when they studied 18-year-olds, which is typically when they are entering their young adult life. If we could reduce this cost, there would be more students able to attend, and crime rates would decrease. Now that we have covered the benefits, one area that decreasing the cost would impact is mental health. The high cost of college tuition can impact a person's mental health greatly. In a study by the Center for Law and Social Policy in 2021, they found that because of financial stress from student loans, 1 in 14 borrowers experience suicidal ideation. Students with severe mental health challenges can be considered a threat to themselves and others. Students may not seek out the help that they need because they live in fear that they will lose financial aid and scholarships if the college were to step in. As a society, if we were to encourage students to only attend schools that focus on mental health, we could create a domino effect across the entire nation. When considering the factors that affect this age group, that rate of suicidal ideation in 1 in 14 borrowers in 2021 jumped to 1 in 8 when they were bringing home $50,000 or less each year. The irony behind this heavy statistic is that many of those earners are coming out of their first years of college, which is typically when loan debt has the largest impact. However, lower income individuals were not the only ones affected by these thoughts, especially when looking at how previous year's debt affected mental health. Out of 40,000 adults surveyed, 13% reported a past year debt burden, and out of that 13%, almost 200 people reported a suicide attempt in the same year. This impact has been seen by adults, other students, and even professionals. Colleges could have 24/7 emergency aid available, such as psychiatric service, at no cost. This was needed in 2023 when the University of Georgia took Twitter and Reddit and analyzed the way that students had talked about student debt. They found high rates of posts that talked about poor mental health. They had decided that because there were a lot of negative attitudes and emotions, that it needed the attention of policymakers. However, if any real policies had been created, then there would be something to show that lives had been improved. We have looked at multiple aspects to why the full cost of college is simply unmanageable. These areas are affecting our young population in more ways than just financially. If we all were to approach college as a united front, they would have to reconsider the major breakdowns of these unreasonable costs. In order to make degrees more accessible, the cost of college must go down. In order to understand the burden of unaffordable college education, first we examined what students are actually paying for, investigated the benefits of lowering the cost, and analyzed the mental health impacts that the cost can have on people. The college students in your life could go without this outstanding debt if we all were to go and properly advocate for this reasonable and necessary change that has to be made.